SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
State Treasurer David McRae is returning record amounts of money to Mississippians, whether it's through the College and Career Savings Program or the hundreds of millions in unclaimed money awaiting your claim. Treasurer David McRae says get your applications and claims in today. Treasury.ms.gov.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man.
Hello, good morning and welcome. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi. What do you say we crush this Wednesday? Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. Glad to have you along as we start a new day. We start a new show, and we near the end of the month of July. Today, July 30th, 2025. We're glad to have you along for the ride this morning, and welcome you to join the conversation on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. You ready for your winning strategy? Here it is. Join C Spire. All the technology and support you need to succeed at home, at work, and everywhere else. Visit cspire.com today. C Spire, inspired by you. I know it's going to be a great day today, and I know it because Lance told me. Because yesterday on Taco Tuesday, he had not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, but 7. Really? 7 tacos?
Lucky number 7.
Okay.
Yeah, man. You know, they were cheap tacos yesterday, so you got to double down.
How are they dressed?
I like them, you know, I'll kind of mix them up a little bit, but generally, you know, ground beef and, you know, some onions in there. And then I'll do when I also splurged and did the chorizo and queso, so that was kind of sprinkled over my tacos, and then a little hot sauce, good to go.
Okay, so we're not loading up with like lettuce and tomatoes and guac,
little
and
lettuce,
the whole deal.
No, I'm not. I'm a little scared of lettuce at a lot of places. Yeah, unless I'm the one that washes it after working in a kitchen, you know, for a little while, hiding from COVID. I learned a lot about lettuce. So yeah.
There you go.
Don't trust it a lot, but yeah, every now and again, if it looks pretty, you know, I'll have them throw a little bit of lettuce on there. If it doesn't look great,
knowledge is broad.
Yeah. But I'm a taco connoisseur, so I don't like too much stuff on it.
Yeah,
not too heavy. Yeah. But 7, yeah,
I like a 2 taco guy.
2 taco guy, yeah. That's usually like a snack.
I understand that. Yeah. Sometimes 3, depending.
Well, you got to have 3, man. 3's a godly number. It goes well.
It was
with
a burger
tacos.
night last night for us. We kind of got to the point where it's like we need to feed the kids. I don't think we've got time to like cook at home, so I went and picked up a couple of. I've started doing the burger bowl instead of. I'm trying to do a little bit better on my food intake.
Less bread.
Yeah, a little less bread. A lot less bread. I love bread.
Yeah, I'm a big bread fan
in
myself.
all of its shapes and sizes.
Mas pan, por favor.
Sliced bread, homemade bread, biscuits, rolls, cinnamon rolls. I like all the breads. So I'm trying to do a little less bread. But it was good, man.
Where is your, as far as Oxford? Oxford has a bunch of good little
hamburger
joints. Is there
Handy Andy is my all-time favorite.
They do a bowl there? Man, they have got
No.
Okay.
Well, maybe they do.
Yeah, they may.
I've not ever ordered it there. But no, I'm going to just hit the little online order at Five Guys.
Mm-hmm.
So kids love those.
Five Guys is nap time. A client of mine would always, about once every 3 or 4 months, she'd say, "Hey, you want to meet at Five Guys?" I'd check my calendar and be like, "Yeah, I can do it today."
Yeah.
Because, after lunch, not a lot of production was getting done after lunch.
Not a lot. I had a flashback yesterday. I picked Obi up from football practice, and they went from like 3 to 4:30.
Yeah, it's pretty rough out there.
They were outside. They're not in pads yet, so it was shorts and jerseys and helmets. But man, that boy, I picked him up. He was like, first thing he said to me was, I'm sorry, I'm not very communicative right now. I'm hot.
Wore out.
I said, I hear you, buddy.
To throw him in the city pool.
That's exactly what we did. Jumped in the pool as soon as it was over. So, it's going to be hot again today. Partly cloudy in Oxford. Continued hot and humid. 97 for the high, winds light and variable. There's a little bit of a break coming this weekend on the intense heat. Winona, you're partly cloudy. Going to be up to 98. It's going to feel like, 110 or so with the humidity. Winds light and variable. McGee, a little cooler for you, actually. Mix of clouds and some sun early, then becoming cloudy later in the day. Hot and humid, but 93 for your actual high. Ocean Springs, that sounds good. 91, partly cloudy. Winds out of the west, southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour.
Sounds like Ocean Springs is kind of taking the cake today. 91, 5 to 10 mile an hour.
Little breeze
off the somebody got on me the other day, the ocean. I can't say that. It's got to be the Gulf of America.
That a boy. That's what the map says. That's what the president says.
I'm going with him.
Had an earthquake off the coast of Japan last night, an 8.7 on the Richter scale, and created tsunami conditions in Japan. There was a lot of damage there, a lot of fear in Hawaii. In fact, there was a tsunami warning in Hawaii, and people were encouraged to get to higher ground and top floors of hotels, and you had people sleeping in hotel hallways, and it appears that Hawaii missed that bad set of tsunami waves they were thinking about. So good news for them. Henry Ford was born on this day in 1863. The American industrialist and automaker. Yes, he gets credit for the Ford Model T, born in Dearborn Township, Michigan. Probably would not recognize Dearborn today. A little bit different than when he was there. Casey Stengel was born on this day in 1890. Hall of Fame outfielder. He was a World Series champ with the New York Giants in 1921 and 1922. Went on to manage the New York Yankees and the Mets. He was the first manager of the Mets, 7-time World Series champion with the New York Yankees. Born in Kansas City, Missouri, Casey Stengel also had a short stint as the head baseball coach at Ole Miss. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think it was just 1 year.
Just 1 year, yeah, but still, I mean, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool to have.
Mm-hmm. Arnold Schwarzenegger was born on this day in 1947.
It's not a tumor.
38th governor of the state of California, born in Austria. A world champion bodybuilder, an actor. Some people think about Terminator. I think about Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah, I mean, always, yes. So many good movies, but I mean, that's definitely takes the cake. That is the top of the ladder for me.
Actor Lawrence Fishburne was born in 1961, 64 years old today. You may remember him from The Matrix, perhaps CSI or Apocalypse Now, born in Augusta, Georgia. Remember Friends? Lisa Kudrow, Phoebe, was born in 1963. She's 62 today. She's a Cali girl, born in L.A. Hillary Swank is 51, born in 1974. She's a Cornhusker, born in Lincoln, Nebraska. What's her most famous role? $1 Million Baby? Where she was a boxer?
I think so. I mean, I would. She's been in some pretty big ones, but that would be the one that kind of comes to mind first for me.
With Morgan Freeman, right?
I don't remember. I mean, I can't.
Pretty sure Morgan Freeman
was the trainer on that one. Yeah,
I think that's who it was. And former American soccer player, goalkeeper for the U.S. national team, sometimes controversial, Hope Solo, 44 years old today. She was born in 1981. I got some things that happened on this day. Struck me as interesting. In 1811, Father Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla, he was leader of the Mexican insurgency and was executed after being found guilty of treason by the Spanish military in Chihuahua, Mexico. So he was leading the insurgency.
You think he had a bunch of little chihuahuas with him?
If you have enough.
I mean, it's an army.
Yeah.
Those things are mean, too. They're possessive.
The This Day in History website got me last night. In 1884, nonpareil Jack Dempsey fights George Fulljames in what is possibly the first middleweight fight with boxing gloves. It was a significant advancement in boxing safety, I suppose. And I thought, oh, yeah, Jack Dempsey. And then I got to look and I was like, hold on a second. This happened in 1884. Is Jack Dempsey that old? John Edward Kelly, born November 15th, 1862, was an Irish-born American boxer, better known as nonpareil Jack Dempsey. First holder of the World Middleweight Championship. He held that title for 7 years, nicknamed Nonpareil because of his reputation of being unbeatable. That is not the same person as William Harrison Jack Dempsey, nicknamed Kid Blackie, or the Manasseh Mauler. He was an American boxer that competed from 1914 until 1927. You know that he was the world heavyweight champion. He carried that title for 17 years. Member of the International Boxing Hall of Fame and the previous Boxing Hall of Fame. So Jack Dempsey, not Jack Dempsey, not the same one. But I learned something there. Got a couple more things that happened on this day in history. Then we'll get to some news headlines for you and with you. Good morning. It's MRC on Super Talk, Mississippi.
From the Venable Glass.
Pour yourself a cup of coffee and get the Magnolia State's most important news of the day. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Morgan Freeman was in $1 Million Baby, so was Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, guess what? What were the first boxing gloves called?
I have no idea.
Mufflers. Jack Broughton, a British boxing champion who was credited with kind of revolutionizing boxing, he invented them, called them mufflers. They were used primarily for training purposes, so it took a little while for him to get into the ring in a match, apparently, as you just covered that. So that was 1884 from about 1700, so a lot of bad teeth and broken noses.
Yeah.
In that 140-something years.
Men were men.
That's right.
Whew. I would imagine this was a good party. 1928, New York City. George Eastman, the founder of Eastman Kodak, the film and camera company, among other things, and an inventor, he showed the first amateur color motion picture to guests in his home in New York. One of the guests was Thomas Edison. Wonder if Edison was impressed. He had pretty good inventions as well. You know, a couple of pretty smart guys there. 1935, the first Penguin books were published, starting the paperback revolution. 1945, do you remember this story? After delivering the atomic bomb across the Pacific Ocean, the cruiser ship USS Indianapolis was torpedoed and sunk by Japanese submarine I-58, killing 880 of the crew, many of whom were attacked by sharks, inspiring the movie Jaws. Ugh.
Yeah, it's a terrible story. I've watched and read a great deal of the harrowing tales of those that were, and they're out there trying to save folks. And it's the sharks were the thing that
was the biggest problem.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, they were everywhere.
It wasn't so much the torpedo
no, it wasn't,
as it was the great whites.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, the sharks were absolutely everywhere.
Major League Baseball star and Hall of Famer Willie McCovey made his debut on this day in 1959. Went on to become a Hall of Fame first baseman for the San Francisco Giants. In his debut in the big leagues, he went 4 for 4, helping the Giants win 7-2 over the Philadelphia Phillies at Seal Stadium at the time. And Willie McCovey, well, the body of water beyond the right field wall at the Giants' current home in San Francisco is called McCovey Cove. Probably remember that from when Barry Bonds was chasing the all-time home run record. He hit a bunch of balls out into McCovey Cove. Remember, you'd see the videos of the people in the kayak, and they were racing for the home run balls. Cool
fighting out there with the paddles.
Yeah. Two more for you. 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed into law Medicare and Medicaid. And in 2003, in Puebla, Mexico, not New Mexico, but Puebla, Mexico, the last original Volkswagen Beetle rolls off the production line. My son, Obi, is he's an eagle eye when it comes to the Volkswagen Beetle. He still does the punch bug thing. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, he doesn't unload on me. He just sees them all the time. I never, ever see them, think about them, notice them. He does all the time. He's like, punch bug, boom. Just a little love tap.
Man, those things were everywhere at one time. You don't see the Beetle much anymore, but I remember the days where that was like every other car, it seemed.
Yeah. I feel like we should adopt the rule. Like, you can't use a second-generation Beetle
the
second punch bug. You got to use the old ones.
Got to be the old one.
Maybe it's just because I get hit too much. All right, news headlines for you this morning. The Mississippi Department of Marine Resources and its partners continue working to clean the Gulf of America coastal waters, announcing earlier this week that 18 abandoned ships have been removed from the state's shoreline in the past year. MDMR, in coordination with the Gulf of America Alliance, with support from the National Oceanic Atmospheric Marine Debris Program. Is there an acronym for that? NOAMD? I don't think that works. They began removing abandoned and derelict vessels known as ADVs in the summer of 2024. To date, 9 vessels from both Harrison and Hancock counties have been successfully removed. The removals account for approximately 411,000 pounds of debris cleared from coastal waters. The vessels varied in type and material: sailboats, fishing vessels, houseboats, recreational crafts made of steel, wood, fiberglass, and aluminum. The ongoing efforts to clean up the coast, increase boater safety, restore water flow, and enhance local habitats. Quote in the press release said an important benefit of removing an ADV is eliminating the danger it poses to boaters navigating in unknown waters or during limited visibility. Their GPS will now show that there is an obstruction ahead, and vessels hitting submerged or partially submerged objects is a major factor in vessel accidents. Roy Lipscomb, who coordinates MDMR's derelict vessel program, said local citizens play a big role in identifying where abandoned ships are or were that needed to be removed. Cool story there. Cleaning up the Mississippi Gulf Coast. A local community in Rankin County is raising money for an injured Rankin County Sheriff's deputy. You may have heard the story. I think this was last week, where you had a sheriff's deputy who was responding to a 911 call for a home invasion in the Robin Hood community. He had his lights on and his siren was on, but his vehicle collided with another, resulting in both drivers being transported to UMMC in Jackson. Highway Patrol continues to investigate the crash. Parker and the other identified driver, Augusta Jones, were successfully treated for their injuries. Parker going from UMMC to Methodist Rehab. He's going to work to regain his strength and mobility there. But an online fundraiser called the Help Jalon Parker Heal and Rebuild Fund was set up. So far, it has raised a little over $4,400 to cover medical and basic life costs for Parker and his fiancée. So good work by the folks in Rankin County putting that together. A worker has passed away after falling off the roof of a building at the Mississippi University for Women. University officials and the Lowndes County Coroner's Office confirmed that the incident happened at Painter Hall, 2-story building. Unidentified victim was transported to Baptist Golden Triangle before ultimately passing away. We offer our condolences. Officials report the victim was employed by a roofing company working to complete a project at the building before students returned to class at the Columbus campus. Ugh. Rough story there. We have been keeping up with the Holly Springs utility company issues that have been going for years now. Finally got the report from Silver Point Consulting. Third-party investigation released yesterday recommends the state remove control of the Holly Springs Utility Department from the city following years of constant power issues for its 12,000 customers. The report says that the city appears incapable of implementing any recommended solutions. The PSC enlisted Silver Point last year after state legislation gave the regulator authority to intervene in Holly Springs, which since 1935 has provided power through TVA. The bill that came after years of complaints from Holly Springs customers about power outages. Those issues peaked in 2023 after an ice storm that left some people without electricity for over 2 weeks. The legislation also allows the Public Service Commission, if it finds the utility can't provide reasonably adequate electric service, to request a court-ordered receivership for the utility. Silver Point found that Holly Springs falls below that standard, said it may be challenging, though, to find a receiver willing to take on the struggling provider. They recommended exploring one of the following options: either selling the utility to another city or cooperative utility, converting it to a cooperative to open up access to low-interest loans, or using eminent domain or condemnation to fix the problem. The report also noted some personnel issues, including the utility superintendent being well into his 80s, which is well beyond the maximum retirement age allowable at most any other utility. After not having a full-time general manager for years, the city also hired a former bridge inspector. His name was Wayne Jones, had no utility or electric engineering experience. Silver Point said, quote, "For decades, city leadership systematically drained utility resources through excessive pilot payments, continuing to milk a starving cash cow to fund its other municipal experiences." Not experiences, expenses. So we'll see where this goes. But the recommendation is Holly Springs can't run the Holly Springs Utility Department anymore. There was something that some people think is very, very serious that happened yesterday. Others, with perhaps a little better sense of humor, thought it was funny. What was that? We'll tell you next. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
From the SeabrookPaint.com
to SuperTalk, Mississippi. Each morning, mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Creek turns back by the old stone road. I'm gonna take you to a special place that nobody knows. Baby, get ready. Ooh, you and me go fishing in the dark, lying on our backs and counting the stars where the cool grass grows.
Mornings with Richard Cross. That's me, Lance Tolbert, doing his thing on this, we just dubbed it Country Music Wednesday. There's a theme with the music. Hope you enjoy it. 601-879-4395. You want to join the conversation? That's the best way to do so on the C Spire text line. Again, 601-879-4395. Richard gets some throat coat tea. I get it at Kroger, mix it with honey. I drink it daily when I'm working. I'm an auctioneer, and it helps me a lot when I'm working. Got to take care of the golden voice. It pays the bills. I'm not a big tea guy. Occasionally, if I've got a sore throat, I will.
Yeah, Rhino's come in with some hot tea lately.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've been a big tea
I don't
person.
feel scratchy this morning, though. I don't think. Maybe it sounds scratchy. I suppose there is it just depends on your perspective on this story. You either think some things are funny and you're willing to say we got, or this is incredibly serious and you've got to figure out new safety protocols. I'm not judging, depending on how you digest this story. Lance, I just can't decide exactly how I want to attack this. An attack happened yesterday, a cyber attack. There was a very serious meeting that was happening. The Mississippi Opioid Settlement Fund Advisory Council was scheduled to meet yesterday at 1 o'clock to further develop how the legislature is going to allocate and distribute a little over $73 million from companies that catalyzed the country's overdose crisis. The meeting was hosted by the Attorney General's office, Attorney General Lynn Fitch, and it was on Zoom. There were some legislators that were in Jackson and others that were there for the call, but it was a Zoom video call. Public participants were not required to sign into the meeting before joining. My guess is that is going to change in the future. Because about 10 minutes into the meeting, one of the administrators of the meeting's screen went black, and as he was trying to fix it, an explicit image appeared on the screen. It is an image that has been quite popular on the internet for the last few years. It's the image of Barry Wood. I would not encourage you to Google that, but if you do, you are doing so at your own risk. And so you had lawmakers and public participants and meeting hosts and others that were watching the Zoom call, participating in the Zoom call, and boom, this image appeared.
Yeah, I mean, you're just hoping. If you're the guy with the laptop, you're like, oh, God.
Wait, what happened? What happened? What happened? 10 minutes into the meeting, as the meeting host and Lynn Fitch, Special Assistant Caleb Pracht, asked for approval of the last gathering's minutes, a Zoom participant noticed that Pracht's screen was partially blacked out. As he tried to fix the screen, an unidentified voice interrupted the meeting and said, "Yep, that's really good to hear because," and then boom, the image appeared. At that point, distorted music started playing, and an unidentified guest took control of the host screen. The screen featured a man in what is described as a sexually explicit pose. I mean, he's really just sitting there. The chaos lasted about 20 seconds until the Attorney General's office ended the meeting. They tried to move it to a conference call a few minutes later, but again, that was hacked as well. And I was told by someone who was on the call that the hack included a male voice that was panting and breathing heavily. The meeting ultimately was canceled via email and said it would be rescheduled soon.
You got to change those passwords first. Password 123, not a good choice.
Now, I did read one news story account of this that, I mean, detailed it in, like, the worst of terms. That it was explicit, racist, and other things. But there are other people that were on the call that thought it was just funny. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Did this really just happen? Oh, my.
Yeah,
oh my.
You know, there's not many meetings that you really look forward to, you know, knowing what happened the next time they get together. Usually meetings are just boring. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the next meeting when they get together, just to...
Does anybody make reference
uptight.
to it, or do they just pretend like
exactly.
It should...
Like, how does this go, you know?
Yeah. All right. Got some sports headlines for you. Probably should move on before I or we get in trouble. Although I think it would be me, Lance. I feel like I am dragging you into a mud hole on this one. And we'll just move on.
It's a fact-based story, though.
It is a fact-based story. It actually happened. I did not hear or see about it in real time, but I did hear about it shortly thereafter and then confirmed with multiple people. Plus, you had the news stories about this. It is a real thing. It actually happened, and I probably should be more serious in life and not think it's funny and should be more concerned about a cyber attack. That's just a pretty funny cyber attack. All right, sports headlines brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Casino thrills, family fun, live entertainment. That's what you get at Pearl River Resort. Visit them online at pearlriverresort.com. Or the next time you are in the area, or maybe you just need to make a special trip to visit Pearl River Resort. The Baltimore Orioles announced yesterday that they would be calling up a former Rebel baseball player, Houston Roth, joining the bullpen. He will join the team ahead of their second game of a doubleheader against the Toronto Blue Jays. Once Roth makes his way out of the bullpen, he will be the 58th Rebel in program history to make it to the show and the 5th to make their debut in this particular season. Roth opened the 2025 season with Double-A Chesapeake, made 8 appearances for the Bay Sox there, struck out 17, posted a 1.64 ERA over just 11 innings before being promoted to Triple-A back on May 25th. For the Norfolk Tides, he's 3-0 this year with a 2.45 ERA and a couple of saves over 16 appearances, 23 punch-outs in 25 2/3. So for the year in minor league baseball, he's 4-0 with an ERA just above 2 and 40 strikeouts.
Isn't he an Oxford boy, too?
He is an Oxford boy. Was a star at Oxford High School, was a star at Ole Miss. Over 3 seasons at Ole Miss, Roth made 56 appearances and had 156 strikeouts over 123 innings with a career 3.51 ERA. Well, you want to talk about dreams coming true. There it is. He was drafted by the Orioles in the 29th round of the 2019 draft. You know, you expect first-rounders, third-rounders, sixth-rounders to make it to the big leagues. But when you get to the 29th round, you know that the odds are long. So congrats to Hunter Roth. Houston Roth. I'm sorry, Hunter's his brother. Houston Roth headed to the Baltimore Orioles. I think, and I tried to fact-check myself on this, I think that Houston Roth is the first former Ole Miss player to make his big league debut with the Baltimore Orioles since David DeLucci in 1997.
Wow.
A lot of other clubs, but that's outstanding.
Yeah, my brother-in-law, he was one of those late draftees and made it up, man. You know?
It's so impressive to do. So impressive.
Well, a good year for old Houston to make it up, too, because Baltimore kind of flip-flopped from last year to this year, you know? So you got an opportunity. They're looking for something, and that's the greatest time to be a guy getting up is when the pressure's lower and they need you. Like, come on, man, we need you to win some games for us.
Last week, news of a potential NFL-ESPN business partnership took center stage with a transformative agreement inching ever closer. That was according to CNBC's Alex Sherman. The NFL would hold up to a 10% equity stake in ESPN, while ESPN would acquire the NFL Network and NFL Red Zone. Biggest takeaway among sports fans was panic. It wasn't worries about conflict of interest or anything like that. No, it was, will NFL Red Zone change? And this story from Awful Announcing says, fans should be okay. ESPN has proven in this new era that they are willing to be hands-off when it comes to acquiring new properties. They pointed to the Pat McAfee show being basically what it was before it came to ESPN. And the thought is that they will not touch the sacred cow that is Sunday afternoons, NFL Red Zone, hosted by Scott Hansen, the pinnacle of sports programming for NFL fans. Awful Announcing wrote, quote, ESPN has some work to do to rebuild its relationship with sports fans, and if it can acquire Red Zone and inside the NBA, the popular NBA pregame and postgame show, it could at least be a major positive step in that direction. Quick timeout. We're back with you right after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
From the Venable Glass.
Mornings with Richard Cross. Here on Super Talk, Mississippi.
What else?
And always on the Super Talk app.
much to get to and seemingly so little time. We will do our best. Ricky Mathews will join us in the 7 o'clock hour, about 7:30. Host of the Ricky Mathews Show on the coast. Look forward to a visit with him. And Skip Scaggs, the president of the Mississippi Automotive Manufacturers Association, acronym MAMA. So Skip Scaggs from MAMA will join us in the 8 o'clock hour. Look forward to that as well. Let's give you that quick lottery update. MSLottery.com is the website. You can check all the numbers, see all the games there. Big one coming up tonight for Powerball, $384 million jackpot. Estimated cash value just a shade over $173 million. There was no jackpot winner with Mega Millions last night. Friday is the next drawing, $140 million cash value, $62 million. Give you a couple of winners, just because winners are fun. A Long Beach man pocketed $75,000 on a $5 scratch-off, the Gold Bar Bingo game. Bought that at Shell in Long Beach. Congratulations, sir. The final Sizzlin' Summer Cash bonus promotion drawing is happening today. Supersized cash prizes up to $25,000. This drawing will include all non-winning promotional entries received between May 6th and July 27th. Check out Mississippi Lottery's special social media channels to see the winner cities. Visit mslottery.com and click bonus promos to learn more. That is your Mississippi Lottery update, mslottery.com. Did you watch Happy Gilmore 2? It was released on Friday over the weekend. Netflix hasn't exactly been known for its blockbuster straight-to-streaming films in the past, but they have a new record holder. Adam Sandler's sequel to the 1996 original shattered an opening weekend record for Netflix, amassing 46.7 million views in the first 3 days. The biggest U.S. opening weekend for a Netflix film on record. Shot to number 1 on the streamer's top 10 chart. And how about this? The original Happy Gilmore, earning 11.4 million views, went to number 3. My daughter, who is 15, we were at dinner, I guess it was 2 nights ago, and my son mentioned that he had already watched Happy Gilmore 2. And I was like, you watched it without me? He's like, sorry. Hey, Montgomery said, I'll watch it with you, but I got to watch the first one first. And so I went up night before last, and there she was. Adam Sandler and Shooter McGavin. And
Shooter's the best character. I mean, I love John
Barker.
Daly. I love John Daly in the new one, but Shooter McGavin's character was the most well-rounded and funny in the Happy 2, you know. Okay. I thought it was pretty decent. The beginning and end were not my favorite, but the middle 45 minutes, 50 minutes, there was some really good laugh-out-loud stuff in there. I mean, it really was.
Netflix, by the way, defines views as total hours watched divided by total runtime, meaning it's not almost 47 million people that just clicked on the movie and watched for a few minutes. This is the approximate number of viewers who completed the entire film. One critic described Happy Gilmore 2 this way. Jason in Sarkville says it was meh. That's what one critic said. This sequel, decades in the making, had every chance to swing and miss, to cheapen the legacy of the original, to lean too hard into nostalgia, to remind us why comedy sequels rarely work. But it didn't. It showed up, gave us a few laughs, tipped its cap to the 1996 classic, and walked off the course without embarrassing itself. That's what I've heard most people say, even though I haven't watched it myself yet, is if your expectations were not particularly high going in, then you walked away with a smile on your face. Ole Miss football junior linebacker Suntarian Perkins has been named to the preseason watch list for the Bronco Nagurski Trophy, as announced by the Football Writers Association of America. The Raleigh, Mississippi native, one of 60 defensive standouts across the country, one of 21 linebackers nationally, one of 18 players from the SEC to make the Nagurski preseason watch list. He's already a preseason All-American, lit up the stat sheet last year As a sophomore, helped contribute to team program records in sacks. Ole Miss had 52 as a team, 10.5 of those, which was good for a tie for second in Ole Miss single-season history, belonged to Perkins. 14 TFLs, ranked 10th all-time. Most notable game came against Oklahoma. 4 sacks in that game against the Sooners a year ago.
Hey, if you're a defensive player, is there a better award that you would want to win? I mean, the name Bronco Nagurski. Yeah, you got to win that one if you want to be the man.
And finally, Reveille 10, Texas A&M's rough collie mascot, had her right eye surgically removed after veterinarians diagnosed her with glaucoma. The collie is known as the First Lady of Aggie Land. She rides around campus in a souped-up side-by-side called Rev Force 1. University president said, according to her veterinary team, we can expect Miss Rev to be back to enjoying all her favorite activities, cruising on Rev Force 1, attending classes, cheering on the Aggies, and keeping our campus squirrels in line this fall. It's going to take a little break before the football season arrives. 7 o'clock hour coming up after the news.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
I got rice cooking in the microwave. Got a 3-day beard I don't plan to shave. And it's a goofy thing, but I just gotta say, hey, I'm a-doing alright. Yeah, I think I'll make me some homemade soup.
Hello, good morning, and welcome. 7 o'clock hour. It's Mornings with Richard Cross. Glad to be with you. You want to join the conversation? We'd love for you to do just that on the C Spire text line. The number is 601-879-4395. Looking for game-changing technology? You need C Spire on your team. 5G wireless, fiber home internet, and business IT solutions built as tough as your defense. Learn more at cspire.com. C Spire, inspired by you. You don't have to agree to join us on the C Spire text line. You're welcome to, but you can also disagree. You can also bring a different perspective. You can text us 322 times a day like my buddy Thomas in Greenwood does. I'm glad Thomas has got thick skin.
Well, you have to. He dishes it out.
He dishes it out. Needle.
He dishes it out so well, he'd have to have thick skin. He seems to be one of those that likes to play the game a bit, you know?
Mm-hmm. That works just fine. Thanks to all of you that connect on the regular on the C Spire text line. Kind of feels like a big old C Spire text line family, and we would love for you to join the family. Plenty of room. This hour of the show, as we digress, is brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough. If you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you are not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services plus a custom plan that fits you. Give them a call today, 601-206-7966, or go to MWGEmployerServices.com. Jerry says it's like hanging out with friends.
Good.
Yeah. It's exactly how we want it to feel. It's like your Cheers, but without all the beer. For most.
Just not here, right?
Not judging. Yeah. I'm just saying. You may remember when Donald Trump was making all of his cabinet appointments, the name Lee Zeldin was one that you heard. He was charged as being the secretary of the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. And yesterday, he had a pretty significant announcement.
EPA is proposing to rescind the 2009 Obama EPA endangerment finding to eliminate all of the greenhouse gas emissions regulations that followed, including electric vehicle mandates, which amounts to $1 trillion worth of savings. And on top of it, that much hated start-stop technology, EPA is also proposing to eliminate that off-cycle credit that incentivized it. As you just mentioned, if finalized, this amounts to the largest deregulatory action in the history of the United States, thanks to President Trump, the Trump mandate, and the American people.
A giant pair of scissors. That's what Lee Zeldin pulled out. And he needed it because that was a big old piece of red tape, pile of red tape. He may have needed a bulldozer to cut through that red tape. You know, I thought that Lance, you're going to tell me, Richard, there is a bigger picture here. There was a little bitty nugget in there from Lee Zeldin, though, that I was like, wait, what? Yes. Did you catch it? He said that annoying start-stop technology. Lance, you may not have this in the FJ. I don't think the technology was along when you bought the Cruiser, but if you have a newer model vehicle, you know, even if you've been in a rental car, you know that if you don't press the button to turn it off, when you pull up to a stoplight and your car's running, it gets real quiet. The engine shuts down.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of all that.
And then when you take your foot off the brake or you touch the accelerator, it gears back up. And in most places, you can just press the button and it goes away. What a ridiculous, annoying piece of technology. And so, apparently, as part of this deregulatory action, the start-stop technology will no longer be required in new vehicles. Now, does that mean they'll get rid of them? I don't know. Ford, I'm talking to you, friends. You know how much I love the Ford F-150. Best-selling truck in America for 38 years. I get mine from Belk Ford on Highway 6 West in Oxford. Great sales team. Great selection on the lot. Great people to deal with. Whether it's the car buying experience or you need to put a vehicle in the shop for some reason, they're just going to take care of you. Like it's a relationship. They've been in the automobile business for over 100 years. They're not going anywhere. And so there you go. Check them out. Tell them you heard about them on SuperTalk Mississippi, that Richard sent you. I would appreciate that very much. But I am hoping that my friends at Belk Ford will use whatever influence they have to tell the people at Big Ford, hey, can we get rid of that stop-start deal? Probably not going to happen immediately because, as is with everything in life, this rolling back or elimination of regulations by the EPA will be slowed down by legal action.
Oh, of course.
C-Spire text line. As a mechanic, I can say that button is the dumbest thing ever.
Well, I remember when Bill Clinton mandated that all the lights on vehicles be on 24/7. And you're like, okay, you had to have, the cars were built where you turned it on, the lights came on. It didn't matter if it was lunchtime or not. Mm. And those kind of stupid regulations they just need to be removed. It's a hindrance of doing business and a cost.
I don't feel like the light affects me though. Like,
well, it costs a lot of money.
Daytime running lamps, whatever.
But it costs money.
Well, I'm sure it does.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to? I'm just saying, why would you waste something that you don't have to waste? Why would you have lights on in the middle of the day if you don't have to have them on? I mean, it's those government get in your way things where you're going, okay, well, I can understand that safety is important, but those are just the little things, I believe, in regulations that you don't need.
And C-Spire text line, passionate about this issue. Hopefully they can do away with regeneration and urea in diesels. Okay. Whoever designed the start-stop doesn't know how air conditioning works on a vehicle and has never had to sit at a red light in Mississippi in July.
Yeah.
Richard, you can permanently disconnect the start-stop feature on any Ford vehicle. I've done it on all of mine for years. And that feels like it might be above my technological pay grade. We got that one. Mechanic thinks it's dumb. Start-stop is the worst, especially when it catches a wild hair to not work properly. The new 2025 F-150 hybrids don't have that magical button, Cross. It does it while driving. Annoying. Got to keep SuperTalk turned up loud so you don't hear it. First thing we do in the Bronco is turn that off. Never knew what it was called till now. Bubba in Starkville says it's hard on the engine. Somebody said they will get rid of that because they don't have to put the hardware and technology into the vehicle. It'll be cheaper to produce, and they can save those couple of dollars per unit and make more profit. Donald in Hattiesburg, we know you have a vehicle from Belk Ford. I do. And you can too, Donald. I detest the stupid button, says Rich in Biloxi. Good morning from the Biomed Department here at Baptist Hospital in Oxford. Hotty toddy, enjoy your show. Thank you. Good morning to you as well and all of our friends in the Biomed Department. We appreciate that very much. Talking about the C Spire text line being a big old family. Somebody said a big old text line house party. That seems appropriate for the moment. I'm glad you mentioned that because Mississippi's giant house party is ongoing, and that's where I will be tomorrow. It's where Gerard is going to be today and tomorrow. Our coverage of the Neshoba County Fair begins at 10 o'clock this morning with middays with Gerard Gibbert. He will be broadcasting from Founders Square. Going to have a bunch of politicians, politicos on the show today, many of whom are speaking. We will be there bright and early tomorrow morning starting at 6 a.m., I'm sure it will be cool and breezy at 6 a.m. at the Neshoba County Fair tomorrow morning. And if not, that's just where we will go in terms of state of mind. Looking forward to being with you. We're going to find out which speakers are willing to get up early and hang out with us tomorrow morning. Looking forward to that as well.
No, the smart ones, that's when it's the coolest.
There you go. Absolutely. What are the odds of the Fed lowering the interest rate today? Oh, Larry, I am done trying to predict what the Fed is going to do. It does not appear that any amount of pressure placed by the President of the United States are going to be able to make that happen. And look, it's not Jerome Powell acting unilaterally. That's the thing that's missed in all of this is you've got the board of the Federal Reserve, and they all have a say-so, a vote, if you will, in terms of making the interest rate decisions. But good grief, man, the fundamentals of the economy point toward lowering the interest rates. Will they do it? Stay tuned. I installed an auto stop eliminator in my truck. That way I don't have to press it each time I crank the vehicle. You can either select on or off. Good to know. We'll be back.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
From Sumner to Summit to Summerall, Richard has something for you. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
On a clear day from their front yard, if you look and know what to look for, off to the east you can still read his words of love. And John Deere Green, on a hot summer night, he rode.
Oh, the beautiful love story of Billy Bob and Charlene, with notes and music to go with it.
I love a little Joe Diffie, man, the great mullet man of all time.
The late,
great mullet
great
back then.
Joe Diffie. Prop him up beside a jukebox.
That's right.
I have thought over and over and over yesterday about our conversation with Sparky Reardon, specifically about the story that he told about Jimmy Buffett and Willie Morris. He said, Jimmy Buffett wants to meet you, Willie. And Willie said, who's Jimmy Buffet? And Sparky, instead of saying, oh, he's a singer, he's a songwriter, he said, he's a Southern poet. Oh, okay, let's go have dinner.
That's how you frame that. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
He's a Southern poet. Yes, sir.
Thanks to all of you, by the way. I got a lot of positive feedback from our conversation with Sparky yesterday. His book is available in bookstores, The Dean, Memoirs, and Missives. There's some really, really good stuff in there. And I don't even think it matters which university you are affiliated with. I think you will find entertainment in that book. So back to the Lee Zeldin reduction of regulation story. Wall Street Journal writes it this way. The Trump administration is taking a big swing at toppling a landmark scientific finding on greenhouse gas emissions that the government has used to regulate emissions from power plants, aircraft, cars, and more. The EPA said Tuesday it was seeking to rescind what's known as the government's endangerment findings. The 2009 declaration states that greenhouse gases threaten public health and welfare by raising global temperatures, increasing the likelihood of heat waves, more intense hurricanes, and storms with heavy rainfall. The EPA said the endangerment finding has been used to justify $1 trillion in regulation, but didn't provide details behind that figure. By rescinding the finding, the agency would end 16 years of uncertainty for automakers and American consumers. Lee Zeldin said in a 302-page proposal to rescind the declaration, the administration argues that the original 2009 finding was unduly pessimistic regarding increases in greenhouse gas emissions and global temperatures, which the administration says peaked in the 1930s and have remained relatively stable since. You know who the big winner in this, Lance, is? It's not you. It's not me. It's not all of us that look forward to the elimination of the start-stop technology in automobiles. It's not the people who can grow their businesses because of deregulation at a far more efficient pace. It is the big winners, lawyers. Because, baby, this is headed to court, and it will be there for a while. C-Spire text line, good morning, boys, from Oxford Glass. Stay cool. That's from Rob and Keith.
I know those guys.
I do, too. Yeah. That is a couple of good dudes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I know at least one of those two guys has a countdown clock. It may just be in his head, but he knows to the second how far we are from the start of hunting season. To the second.
You got to get to football season first for me. That's the starting point. You know, that's when you know you got to. It's about time to start plowing some fields and getting some stuff done if you want to hunt.
Yeah, this clip is good for you, if for no other reason because of the British accent. Fox Business Channel yesterday. You know, there are so many different reports with numbers that I will grant you that it's hard to keep up with which economic indicators we should be watching. It seems as if most economic indicators are telling us that life is good. Hence what we were talking about before the break. Let's drop the interest rates. Here's what they said on Fox Business yesterday.
Just came in 97.2, which is a strong number. By the way, Stu, the estimate for the consumer confidence reading was 95, so that is better than expected. We'll see if that has an impact on the market, but certainly better news.
Market rolling at an all-time high or near an all-time high. It's pretty good. So, again, I do not know. I would readily admit I don't know the significance of 97.2 as the consumer confidence estimate. I do know that every time they make one of these announcements, or seemingly every time they make one of these announcements, when they give you the number, they go higher than expected. We expected it to be at 95. It came in at 97.2. You know, I don't know. Scale of what? I do not know, but I will tell you that 97.2 is higher than 95.
Well, I mean, they're probably using Biden numbers where you had to revise everything backwards. So, you know.
Hey, I do. I don't know.
Hey, I do.
But another good economic indicator in a time where we were told that Donald Trump is going to blow up the economy with tariffs. Going to blow it up. Not going to work. Right, Thomas? Not going to work. And Lance, I'm not saying that you are a pessimist by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think you are. I think you are a realist. That's probably the best way to describe it. But you pointed out to me yesterday, and it's something I should have mentioned on the air when we were talking about length of these deals, these trade deals that Trump is putting in place. Some of them have different lengths, but the one with the European Union is a 3-year deal that expires in 2028, which coincides with the end of this Trump presidency. What is that going to mean down the line? Well, it probably depends on who the next president is. Is it a president that will be easily pushed around, that will allow the rest of the world to dictate to the United States the terms of what trade negotiations are going to be? Or is it going to be somebody tough?
Or even a good negotiator, like.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I don't know that there is a better negotiator, and the evidence kind of points to this, than Donald Trump on planet Earth.
Yeah, he's definitely the best I've seen. I mean, and he enjoys it. That's the thing. It's kind of his bag, He enjoys getting in there, rolling the sleeves up, being honest, and getting a read on people. I think that's why he gets so frustrated with Putin, because Putin's an KGB guy. I mean, this guy's playing games all the time, and Trump's trying to get things done, and he knows he's over there playing with an intelligence officer that's got 8 different things he's working in his head, and 4 different chess games he's playing. But yeah, I mean, Trump's the best, and you're going to need that when you come rolling around to renew some of these deals. And again, I'm not a pessimist in any way. Like I said, I'm a realist. I spent so much time managing people's money that all I ever really cared about was the client. I wasn't looking at politics from a what do I want capacity. I was looking at it from what do my clients need. And what you need is a strong leader to come after this strong leader so that these deals have staying power, or there is an alternative out there. The BRICS are growing. They're going to offer alternatives. You've seen China willing to build railroads and do all this stuff for cheap. I mean, that's life. We're going to have to figure that out as we go. But what you can say is the big guy has done an amazing job in 6+ months on the job.
C-Spire text line says we need Jeb Bush. Oh, do we? I don't know that Jeb Bush is as bad as some people make him out to be. He does not strike me as the type of negotiator that Donald Trump is.
I mean, if you're talking about negotiating some waffles or something, I mean, I'm not, but
I don't know what that ticket looks like. It's one of the great mysteries that we're going to see. We know, I think, who the primary players are going to be, but we don't know who is going to emerge in 3.5 years at the top of the Republican ticket. We'll know in 2.5 years, I guess, give or take. But we know J.D. Vance is going to be in the mix. We know that Marco Rubio is going to be in the mix. I don't think you can find a more impressive 6 months than that of the current Secretary of State, plus like 3 other departments that he's running. I don't think Ron DeSantis is going anywhere. I think he will be in the mix. Ron DeSantis came out of the gates too early this past go-around.
Yeah, I thought so, too.
Way too early.
I'd love to see a Rubio DeSantis ticket on either side of it. And I laid this down. I'll get a Vero Beach tattoo with a palm and a sunset if that's the ticket that wins. I mean, Vero Beach is halfway between Jacksonville and Miami where they were born. So I figured that would be, a great tattoo to get. And I don't have tattoos, but I like that ticket. I'll go with a palm and a sunset with Vero Beach.
Yeah.
That'd be a good ticket, though. I think that's a strong one.
I love that the conversation takes us places we didn't intend to go. But good grief, from an organization standpoint, I told you earlier, it's one of those days. So much information, so little time. It's all right. It's all right. Having fun with you. And appreciate all the interaction on the C-Spire text line, including Dwight and Gaucher, who says, I'll watch Tin Cup, Kevin Costner, and Rene Russo twice before Adam Sandler's sequel. Always liked it better. Do you guys have any golf movies in your top 10 sports movies list? Yes. The Legend of Bagger Vance. Play will continue. Ricky Mathews joins me next.
From the Seabrook Mississippi.
Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Morning, partner. The sun is up, the coffee is on, and you're starting your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross, here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
The charges. Mother shot the jukebox last night. Said it played a sad song and made him cry. Went to his truck and got a 45.
All right, you made us think during the break. And when I say you made us think, you made us do a Google search and empower the AI bots at Google. couple of you saying that Lance's suggestion that the combination of Ron DeSantis and Marco Rubio could not actually be on the same ticket because they're from the same state.
Mm-hmm.
What I found was the president and vice president can be from the same state. While the original process for electing the president and vice president under the Constitution had some flaws, the 12th Amendment addressed them by requiring electors to cast separate votes for president and vice president and ensuring at least one of them was not from the same state as the elector. This amendment was ratified in 1804, meaning that since then the president and vice president can be from the same state. The practical effect is that presidential candidates often choose running mates from different states to broaden their appeal and avoid potential conflicts with state-based electors. So, the more you know. And I learned something, too. Glad to be with you this morning. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi, and glad to welcome our first guest. A name you likely know, Ricky Mathews. He is host of the Ricky Mathews Show and SuperTalk Outdoors. He joins us from beautiful coastal Mississippi this morning. Hello, Ricky.
Good morning, Richard. How you doing, my friend?
Great, man. Great to be with you. Hey, quick question as we get started. What kind of vehicle do you drive?
I drive an F-150 truck.
There you go. Are you as frustrated with the start-stop technology where you got to press the button to make the engine go when you get to a red light?
Sometimes I turn it off, sometimes I don't. But, yeah, it's a little bit crazy for
there
sure.
You go. Well, we got that news that as part of this sweeping EPA ridding of regulation that perhaps the start-stop technology will go away. So we shall see. Sorry, just carrying that conversation over. Hey, there was a story that we looked at earlier this morning in some of our news headlines about cleaning up coastal waters. And an effort that has been made over the last couple of years to get rid of abandoned ships, whether it's fishing vessels or houseboats, things that have sunk. What's the practical application of that from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources? We're reading that 18 abandoned ships have been removed in the last year. How big a deal is that on the coast?
I would say a decently important issue. One of the issues is when a hurricane comes, those vessels are going to get driven further inland, and they become battering rams to homes and so on. So you've got that. And then, of course, the reality that some may be just below the waterline, and that is a navigation issue for sure. I do a lot of boating, and you want navigation to be clear. One of the big things they did after Hurricane Katrina is they did this incredible sweeping effort to get all the debris out of the water so that people could, be safe. So, yeah, I would say it's an important issue.
Does it feel like to you, and I know that simply because of geography and because of that big river that starts in Minnesota and makes its way all the way down to New Orleans, that the beaches along the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, that 3-county region, they're always going to be different than the beaches that you see in the Panhandle of Florida, even along the coast of Alabama. But are the beaches evolving in coastal Mississippi?
Yeah. Well, first of all, if you were to come here today, what you would see is that the beaches have never been in better shape. Our coastal beaches are beautiful, and what they've done with the sand dunes and the seagrasses that have helped really control the amount of sand that gets onto Highway 90, it's beautiful. When we drive to church on Sundays, we do that drive down the beach, and it's incredible. The other thing is as we've upgraded sewage systems and all this kind of stuff, the amount of outflow into the outflow when you have a heavy rain, for example, out into the sound is not nearly as great. But yeah, it's always good. The barrier islands are going to always be the thing that created the Mississippi Sound, and what comes with that is great seafood, et cetera. So we're never going to have the waves here, but the beaches are always going to be one of our biggest assets. Even today, it's probably never been bigger.
Ricky Mathews, our colleague here at SuperTalk Mississippi, host of the Ricky Mathews Show. You hear him on Mississippi Outdoors as well, right here on SuperTalk. I don't know if passion project is the way to describe it, but something that has been very, very important to you has been talking about economic development in coastal Mississippi, harnessing the power of the 3-county region, or maybe the 6-county region, if that's a better way to describe it. I think you and I I think you are the first person that I've talked about that with. But since our first conversation about that, I've talked to a number of officials, whether it's mayors or elected representatives, that have talked about the need for coastal counties to band together and work together for economic development. Give us a kind of a high-level update, because I do know that that's a conversation, Ricky, that is happening more. There are more people that are interested in it, but I thought we got a little bit of a history lesson not too terribly long ago, and that history tells us that the relationship between those 3 counties on the coast has not always been the best working relationship.
You know, there's always been some division in coastal Mississippi, and as I said in my most recent column, you know, I think Katrina brought us together. I think there's a powerful lubrication to change that comes from pain. You know, pain is a major lubricant, and Katrina created this incredible opportunity for us to come together and work together. You know, and I'm in a unique position, Richard, because I'm a former CEO on the coast. I helped form the Business Council. I led tourism recovery after Hurricane Katrina. So a lot of the leaders who are still involved, a lot of the CEOs are still involved, are very close friends of mine. And yes, there is a tremendous conversation that's going on behind the scenes. But my contention is, the further we get away from Katrina, we have new leaders in the community that don't have the scars of Katrina. We've got young people who are leading now that weren't really in a leadership role and don't understand what we faced after Hurricane Katrina. So we don't have a Katrina-type storm. But the storm that we're facing today is gathering, man. It's coming from other parts of Mississippi. It's coming from other regions of the Southeast. It is coming in the form of AI that in the next 5 years will create a net job loss. So if we don't diversify our economy away from gaming and government, which is what it is today, we're gonna be in a tough space, in my opinion. And it's going to take us coming together like we did after Hurricane Katrina and doing something similar to what they did up in Oxford. This new development alliance that they've developed, similar to what they did in the Golden Triangle, is really important. And, you know, we've got to get together on the big stuff. And maybe, you know, the gathering storm is a little bit more quiet, but the pain, to me, the future pain of that is very significant, not just for coastal Mississippi, for our state, because this is an economic engine for our state. It's the economic engine for our state. When you compare, just look at the region compared to other regions. This, you know, Ingalls alone, largest employer in the state of Mississippi. So we've got to get our act together. One last thing. I've had a lot of conversations, as you have. I think people get it. I think leaders get it. They just, you know, where's that push going to come from? Someone told me yesterday the pushers have stopped pushing. Another leader told me that, you know, the leaders of CEO don't have big enough footprints, so they don't see what is possible. But we've got to learn to dream bigger. We've got to feel the pain, and we've got to act, and we need leadership, and that's what I've been pushing for.
You know, one of the things that somebody told me is kind of the old guard on the coast has maybe not been as receptive to this idea, and it is younger business leaders that perhaps are able to see the forest and not just the trees a little bit more, right? Do you get any indication that may be the case, that there are some younger and emerging leaders along the coast that are for this idea of kind of banding together, that we're stronger together than we are individually?
I do. I've had a number of conversations. For example, the current chairman of the board for the Gulf Coast Business Council is Jonathan Jones, who is the head of Harris down here on the coast. And then Brandon from the Beau Rivage is also on the executive committee. You know, those are two guys, and there are many others that are emerging as important leaders to this conversation. But I think to intellectually get what we need to do, and then to have to go do the hard work of convincing, as the Golden Triangle had to do when they developed the Golden Triangle Development Link, and as Ryan Miller and his compadres did up in that region of the state. It takes hard work, man. You got to get boards of supervisors on your team. You've got to get mayors on your team. And we historically have had a hard time doing that. And so it's going to take tremendous leadership to overcome some of these barriers.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that we've seen, we'll talk about this more on the other side of the break, that, the link in the Golden Triangle with Joe Max Higgins in charge there, the thing that we've seen is it is a long-term play. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme for any region of the state of Mississippi. You got to believe in the process, and you got to be able to stick with it for the long term. And you've got to invest. We'll continue the conversation with Ricky Mathews. We are coming up on the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Anniversaries make us celebrate. They also make us remember. We'll talk about what those memories are going to be like when we come back. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Ricky Mathews is my guest.
I think I'll just stay here and drink. Yes, sir.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Or where you're from, Happyville, Batesville, DeIberville, or any other ville in the SIP. You're starting your day off right. Mornings with Richard Cross. Super Talk, Mississippi.
When that sun is high in that Texas sky, I'll be bucking at the county fair.
One last time with you in the 7 o'clock hour, Mornings with Richard Cross. Remember, Skip Scaggs, who is president of the Mississippi Automotive Manufacturers Association, will join us to begin the 8 o'clock hour. But right now we continue our conversation with Ricky Mathews, host here on Super Talk Mississippi of the Ricky Mathews Show, available as a podcast, streaming online at supertalk.fm, and available on our Coast affiliate, and also Super Talk Outdoors. A couple of passions for Ricky Mathews there. Ricky, through the years, you and I have talked so much about Katrina. I've picked your brain on memories. We know that there are things that are good that came in the aftermath of Katrina, but we also know how devastating that was for an entire region, not just in Mississippi, but the United States. Really is kind of hard to believe that we are approaching 20 years since Katrina made landfall.
It is amazing to me. And to look back, as I have often said, I think the recovery effort took a little longer than people expected for a host of reasons. But look where we are today. Look where we started, and look where we are today. The work that has been done to rebuild the coast communities, each with its own special sense of place, and our infrastructure and the bridges, all these things will make us more resilient for the next storm. There's no question about it. I mean, we were not ready from a resilience point of view for Hurricane Katrina. We will be ready for the next one. But to look back, there's a lot that we learned from this storm. That is for sure.
What is this? I mean, I'm hesitating here, right? So we're coming up on America's 250th birthday, and it's this big birthday celebration, and all 50 states are going to be doing their thing, and at the national level, we're going to be doing things. We don't celebrate the anniversary or the birthday of a storm, but we certainly do remember what's that going to look like, especially for the people that either experienced it or experienced the loss associated with it.
Yeah, I understand, and I've actually said that on my show before. When I use the word celebrate in relation to Katrina's anniversary, it seems so wrong.
Yeah.
But really what we're doing is we're celebrating our recovery and renewal. That's what we're really celebrating. We're celebrating that 20 years has passed and look where we are today. And, what I did, right after the storm, I started capturing lessons, and my wife urged me to sit down and finish a book that I had intended to write, which I finally did. And the book, while it is largely, I would say, motivated by the Katrina lessons, it really ultimately became a book about hope and the role that hope plays in recovery. And listen, man, what we learned after that storm about us personally, the importance of family, the importance of faith, the importance of leadership, the importance of forgiveness, and to see the heart of others. And I coined a phrase called hope-giving CPR, but the amount of hope-giving CPR that came to coastal Mississippi, and for those who came here from outside this area, incidentally, Richard, maybe we've chatted about this before, what they saw in Mississippians compared to what they expected to see was two entirely different things. And most everyone who came here, they hugged us on the way out and said, thank you for letting us come here, because they went home inspired. But there are so many powerful personal lessons, man. And we all, for those of us who were here and have, become stronger as a result of those experiences, we're better people today because of that. And then, of course, there's a whole host of other lessons about dreaming big and rebuilding and all of that. But, I would say some of the personal lessons are the most powerful to me.
It's funny when people that don't call Mississippi home visit, whether it's in disaster recovery, coming in for a ball game, doing a music tour, a blues tour, they all seem to leave with the same impression. It's like there's a theme here that just keeps happening over and over and over. And maybe some of the good economic news in Mississippi in recent years is reflective of that sense that people get when they come here and have decided that maybe they want to put down some roots.
I can't agree more. I totally agree. When you talk to people who relocated here, I'll give you an example. Every Wednesday I have Singing River Health Talk, and a growing number of the doctors at Singing River Health System came through Keesler. Now, they came from incredible institutions for their education and incredible communities, but they came here and spent a little bit of time. They fell in love with the place and decided to stay. You hear that over and over and over again. Volunteers, military. One of the best retirement communities in America here, because people, they come here, they get stationed at CB Base or Keesler or over at Stennis or wherever, and they fall in love with this area. I think there's something about, I say this all the time, but there's something in the heart and soul of Mississippians that blows people away, because their perception of us when they come here is of something different. But the realities are, because of our unfortunate history, we came to grips with that long ago. And we're always going to have challenges like any other set of communities in the world. But the fact is, what's in our souls is special, and people see it. And that's what makes this such a great place to live, work, and play, and visit.
Faith, family, fellowship, friendship, food, football. What's not to love? Thanks, Ricky. We'll talk soon.
You're welcome, my friend. Take care.
All right, now to the important stuff.
Your VIP pass to hear what the most influential Mississippians are talking about.
This is very important. Huge news.
Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Well, I was raised in a sophisticated kind of style. Yeah, my taste in music and women drove my folks hag wild.
Welcome to the 8 o'clock hour on this Wednesday morning. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi. Glad to have you along for the ride. This hour of Mornings with Richard Cross is presented by Pine Grove Behavioral Health and Addiction Services in Hattiesburg. Their number is 1-888-574-HOPE. Visit pinegrovetreatment.com to learn more. Skip Scaggs joins me this morning. I think Skip on with me for the very first time. He's president of the Mississippi Automotive Manufacturers Association. Skip, I appreciate some of your time. There is no doubt that the automotive industry in Mississippi plays a really significant role in the state's economy. Whether you're talking about actual manufacturers, the subsidiary companies that feed parts to them and have put down roots in Mississippi, North Mississippi, Central Mississippi, South Mississippi, and then, of course, all of the automobile dealers across the state kind of all roll into just what a significant role the automobile industry plays in the state. Can you speak to that a little bit in terms of your role with the association?
Yeah. Thanks for allowing me to join you, Richard. Look forward to sharing thoughts on the automotive industry in Mississippi. And you're exactly right. The industry is certainly Nissan and Toyota, but it's a lot deeper than that. The Tier 1, the Tier 2 supplier base that grow out to support those industries. And as you referenced, it's the dealership. We have just about every county has an automotive dealer, and with that comes the service department, But when MAMA was formed in about 2006, after Nissan had located, the first plant manager at Nissan said, hey, we need an association to help further grow this industry, because it was in its infancy back then. We might have had a few wire harnessing companies. Delco had some operations here. But until Nissan kind of planted its flag in Canton, the OEM market really took off after that. And you see what a transformative industry it has become for those communities in and around the OEM. So we're excited to work with the OEMs, anybody who's interested in the automotive sector, to help see that growth and that growth continue in Mississippi.
It's interesting to me. There are certain industries where a location or a region kind of becomes synonymous with that particular industry. Whether you're talking about technology in Silicon Valley, old school automotive in the Detroit area, or others that are out there. Does the automobile industry work that way as well? Like, competition is competition, but at the same time, you mentioned Toyota and Nissan both in Mississippi. Do manufacturers tend to kind of cluster together, even if they're competitors?
It's kind of like automotive dealerships. When you see one automotive dealership, probably chances are there's one across the street, because it does create that cluster mentality. And in the automotive sector, we see some of that. And then you don't see it so much in the manufacturing, because in terms of site selection, companies will want to talk about competitor avoidance issues, and so they don't want to be so close to a competitor that they're competing for that particular skill set, but at the same time they want to be close enough so that the skill set does exist. And by growing the industry, we're helping grow the workforce and the skill sets that are required for the automotive industry. In fact, that's one of the main programs of the Mississippi Automotive Manufacturers Association, was the establishment of a scholarship program that we wanted to encourage students to look at the automotive industry, not just as a job, but as a career. And so the association formed a scholarship foundation, and since they began back in 2006, they've awarded over $470,000 to students across Mississippi, at our universities, at our community colleges, and it's something that the association takes pride in, and it's going to continue to do that. But to get back to answering your question, I think it's a yes and a no. Cluster development is real. It does support the symbiotic growth between industries and between companies, and but at the same time, there is an interest or a level of competitor avoidance.
And maybe the cluster is more regional than it is state specific, because I guess if you look at new plants that have been built in the last 2.5 decades, the majority of them have happened in the southeastern part of the United States. We've seen it in Kentucky. We've seen it in Mississippi. We've seen it in Alabama. Yeah.
You brought up the traditional, the big three in Detroit. That was the historical, and the boom and the growth in the South, starting with BMW in Greer, South Carolina. I was working in Birmingham when Alabama located Mercedes in the early 90s. And from that, people began to realize that the South was so much more than cheap labor or an agricultural state, which we still are today, but the ability of our workforce to showcase their talent and to showcase to the world and the international investors in automotive industries that Mississippians and Southerners in general have the skill sets. They just needed the opportunity. And thankfully, we've seen that growth. We've seen that through South Carolina, Georgia. In fact, I'm in Atlanta today. Was learning about Hyundai's location outside of Savannah yesterday and learning more about that. But the Southeast is on the up and coming. It's a strong player in the international automotive market, so much so that they have developed their own Southern Automotive Conference. So every year there's a group where that gets together, and it's both Mississippi Automotive Manufacturers Association. We have sister organizations in Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, and South Carolina. And then we rotate that Southern Automotive Conference every year. So Mississippi will host that conference in 2 years. It's in Huntsville in October 7th through the 10th this year. And then the following in 26, it'll be in Atlanta. And then in 27, we'll have it back in Mississippi. Or I think this will be our third or fourth time to host the Southern Automotive Conference.
That'll be in the Jackson area?
The South is on the rise. We have not yet determined where it'll be. In the past, we've done it at on the coast at the Beau Rivage.
Yeah.
I think we've looked in Jackson, Tupelo, the Tunica area. Again, trying to find a place that offers the amenities that we need to host 650 people.
Yeah. I feel like that's something we need to be at the next time it comes around to Mississippi. We'll put that on the calendar and make plans to be part of that as well. How big a deal is the fact that Mississippi is not a union state when manufacturers are looking? And I know that's a debate that has existed and has been a hotly contested topic multiple times through the years, and yet we've stayed in that right to work mantra.
As an economic developer, I would say right to work state is extremely important. It's certainly going to get the attention. In terms of MAMA and MAMA members, I would say that they're somewhat agnostic on union membership, being that we're both Nissan and Toyota, both large Japanese companies. They take an approach. They call it the Mendomi, is the Japanese term, and it's a way of treating their associates. I think, and this speaks across all industries. There may have been a time when unions were needed, but in today's environment, the dedication to the employee as a part of a family, we treat safety as issue number one.
Yeah.
Employee safety is vital. Making sure that people are respected, they're heard, and that they're cared for creates the environment where we really don't have the need for a union. Now, there are some that might want to come in and sell a story that
Sure.
that it is needed or that they'll make more money, but I think Mississippians see it and understand that as long as they're being respected as an individual, they're being heard, they're being cared for.
We got to take a quick break.
Well compensated.
Quick break. We're back with Skip Scaggs.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Wake up, get up, and start your day right with Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk, Mississippi.
I was 3 days short of pulling out of Kingsport. I was headed down to Houston town. Had a guitar.
Great to be with you. Skip Scaggs is my guest, president of the Mississippi Automotive Manufacturers Association. I was kind of disappointed, Skip, when you used the acronym earlier and you said MAMA and not MAMA.
Mama.
We
do a program. We lean into that. We have a program that we developed during COVID. Was lunch with your mama or lunch with your mama.
There you go.
And it was just a virtual brown bag. Hey, grab a lunch, sit down at your computer, and we'll bring in somebody to talk about a different program. But lunch with your mama, we do have a little fun with it.
That is, that's very good. My apologies. Can't make those breaks go away. Didn't mean to interrupt you going into the break, but I feel like we accomplished something by going a little over 10 minutes and not mentioning the T word, but I feel like I need to mention the T word now, tariffs. So much discussion about that in the automobile industry. I guess there was a report earlier this week or late last week that, GE profits quarterly were down and they were starting to feel the effects of the tariff. I'm wondering, though, if this week's news kind of makes tariffs a double-edged sword with the opening of the European Union to American automobile manufacturers in a way that it really has never been open before.
Yeah, well, we certainly hope so. Immediately when you said the T word, we know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
As an industry, we are at our core free market, free traders, capitalists. We want companies and individuals to get the most out of what they're offering. And the intricacies of the automotive supply chain are immense. In order to deliver a product that is demanded by consumers at a price point that is acceptable by those consumers, takes an international effort to pull that together. And it's not an effort that is done overnight. It is done over years. And to implement tariffs, it does create a lot of angst amongst manufacturers. But, we're going to play the cards we're dealt, as is everybody. We're going to make the best decisions we can at the time we have to make them. But I would just say that it is difficult to operate in an era of uncertainty. We hear one announcement on tariffs this week, and it may change next week. I think this morning there was a new one that came out on India. But then when you talk about double-edged sword, we're hopeful that, this might be an opportunity for us to bring back some opportunities within the tier 2 or tier 3 supplier level, and say the wire harnessing business that traditionally went away to lower cost production areas. That may be something that we're able to bring back in a more timely manner. But in terms of bringing back tier 1 suppliers, that takes years. It's not something that you can do in weeks and not months, but it's years. And the automotive industry, more so than just about anybody else, has a real international supply chain, and tariffs certainly upset a good bit of that. But we're going to make the best decisions we can at the time we have to make them.
I don't know if you've seen the news from, I guess it was yesterday afternoon. Lee Zeldin, the head of the EPA, announced yesterday that the EPA was recommending, and I mean, they don't say this if it's not kind of with the blessing of the White House, that they roll back some of the major regulatory restrictions, and the automobile industry would be included in that. We had some fun this morning talking about the elimination of the start-stop function on the automobiles, whether it's trucks or cars or whatever. How big a deal would that be for the automobile industry if the regulatory environment that exists right now, especially for manufacturers, was rolled back and there was not as much emphasis on EVs or kind of all of the stuff, and forgive me for using that incredibly technical term, but all of the stuff that goes along with it?
Well, I will say that, there's a couple of ways to look at it, that the automotive industry is going to look at that. One is in the cost that it takes to implement environmental regulations are a concern to every manufacturer, not just the automotive industry. But at the same time, the automotive companies that I work with that are members of MAMA, they're certainly not going to do anything that's going to cause direct harm, that they would knowingly cause direct harm. That's not going to happen. So they're going to continue to do all they can to protect the environment. When you talk about EVs, I think you're spot on there. Our take has been that the government should not dictate what type of vehicles companies should make. You know, they might incentivize something on the consumer side, but it should be left up to the manufacturer to determine what products they want to provide. Is that going to be a full EV plug-in, or is it some type of hybrid? Is it a plug-in hybrid, or is it going to be the internal combustion engine? That's the market's decision, not the government's decision, and it is the automotive company's job to determine what the market wants and then provide that. But as the EPA looks at rolling back their regulations, I think you'll see the automotive industry respond accordingly to continue to follow what the market wants and not so much what the government tells them that they want. But I think you'll also see that the companies are going to continue to do what they can to increase fuel efficiency.
Yeah.
If they want to extend fuel efficiency, because that appeals to the consumer. Again, it's consumer driven, not government driven.
Yeah. I know it was always fascinating to me talking with some car dealer friends to watch prices at the pump and see SUV and pickup truck sales go down and then come back up. And, you know, people got to get a small car, got to be fuel efficient, and then prices go back down to a more manageable rate at the pump, and it's like, oh yeah, let's get the big truck or the big SUV. I want to finish here, Skip, if we can. We got about 3 minutes left. Is Mississippi capable of handling ripe for another major automobile manufacturer?
You know, we announced Amplify up in Marshall County was the most recent one. That will employ, that's going to 4,000 people. But I think we do have room for at least one more, maybe two. Depends on, the location. I know a couple of communities that would like them because they are transformative to a region. But to answer your question, I think you could see another OEM in the state, provided there is an OEM out there that is looking. Given the rollback on EV opportunities, that's going to slow down. I think EVs will continue. I've heard the term past peak. We are past peak on that push. And so we will see just kind of a leveling out for now. But what is that next? Who is that next OEM that's going to be looking to locate? And
any scenario where one of the big three slides into the Southeast in a more prevalent way than they currently have, or are they really kind of doubling down in that Michigan area?
I don't see them move in this direction. To be honest, I don't know if we want one of the big three in this market.
Interesting.
That would be an interesting debate, because with the big three, you have the legacy of union membership, and that's just not something we want to entertain.
Makes sense.
From a state perspective.
Yeah. Skip Scaggs, president of MAMA, or MAMA, whichever you prefer, the Mississippi Automotive Manufacturers Association. Skip, I really appreciate your time. I hope we can do this again soon.
be happy to.
Sounds good. Safe travels to you. Skip Scaggs joining us on Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi. We will take a timeout. We are back with you right after this, about half an hour left.
Maybe I'm not known for doing a lot, but I do my best work when the weather's hot. I'm pretty good at drinking beer.
From the Seabrook Paint. It's happening. You're waking up to what's happening. Mornings with Richard Cross. Right now on Super Talk Mississippi.
The Neshoba County Fair, Mississippi's Giant House Party, is back and bigger than ever, and Super Talk Mississippi is there. Starting at 10 this morning at Founders Square, Middays with Gerard Gibbert will be live. Tomorrow morning at 6, Mornings with Richard Cross and Middays will be there. It's one of the biggest events of the year. You don't want to miss it. The Neshoba County Fair on Super Talk Mississippi. I was there a couple of years ago, and it was filling in for Paul at the time. And, man, that 5:30 to 6:30 hour. You know there was a party the night before. You know there's a party on the way, but the calm before the storm, that's a pretty magical time. Like, you're sitting there, and it's so quiet, and you hear the birds chirping, and you're really fortunate there's a little bit of a breeze. I don't know that we're going to have that level of fortune tomorrow, but that's okay. It's Mississippi. It's the summer. We've been there before. But, man, what a neat time.
Yeah.
Early in the morning, the Neshoba County Fair.
Oh, yes, everything's getting cracking up. It kind of reminds you of the Grove or, pre-football game before the quiet before the storm, And then I'd be looking for this guy, Speedy Barrett, one of the jockeys. I'd be trying to hawk him down. Now, a name like Speedy Barrett, you got to be good at this. Apparently, he's been doing it a long time as well. But yeah. I'm in on the horse racing. Yeah, I wish Mississippi had more of a horse racing mindset and like car racing and such. But Neshoba's where you get it, buddy. And I don't know the names of the horses and the crews, but I think that would be fun. To have a list. I've been looking for.
I think you're too big to be a jockey.
Yeah, maybe so, unless you put me on a Clydesdale.
Well, an elephant. Today we have the elephant races on elephant number 2.
Yeah. Hey, it would be cool, though, if they had, lawnmower races and stuff like that, too, up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Mississippi's a creative place. I always loved living up in the hills of North Mississippi. Had a lot of friends up there and did a lot of interesting things, and I got a buddy of mine here in the building that works in the Farm Bureau building. He can fix anything. And I've been talking to him about rigging up a side-by-side. I mean, a zero turn, with we were talking, there was a guy that had a tiller and he'd put a motorcycle engine on it. And Gary and I were talking about that yesterday. He goes, man, did you see the guy that put the motorcycle engine on the tiller? I'm like, no, that's the kind of stuff. If I had money though, that's what I would be doing. They put a 350 on a tiller. Get it done fast. But
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it would. Football is here. Kind of. No, it's here. And so is Sports Talk Mississippi. The boys and I are about to embark on our not fall camp tour. Stops in Oxford, Starkville, and Hattiesburg. Talking to coaches, players, getting you ready for the start of the 2025 college football season. Tons of great giveaways. We'll be at the library in Oxford next Wednesday. Two Brothers Smoked Meats in Starkville on August 13th. And Ed's Burger Joint in Hattiesburg on August 20th.
That'll be eating good.
We will.
Man, I tell you, those wings at Two Brothers, I ate my weight in those the last time I was up there. Goodness gracious.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The not Fall Camp Tour is presented by Pearl River Resort, your destination for casino thrills, family fun, and live entertainment. I played the Consumer Price Report clip a little while ago that was from yesterday. I got another clip for you. This one's from this morning. From this morning. More good money news. More good money news. From Fox Business, this time it's a report on
Again, GDP. This is the first read of the second quarter, coming in at 3%. That is better than expected, 2.4%. I want to bring in Adam Johnson. Markets are certainly watching this right now.
Yeah, Goldilocks, because I would add to that, Cheryl, that the GDP price index was only 2%, and the expectation was 2.2. In other words, we have an economy growing at, what do you say, 3%? We have inflation at 2%. That's the best of both worlds. So I'm very positive on that report, at least in the moment.
How about that? GDP up, inflation down.
It's odd how that works, huh? Keep saying you bring in more revenue. It has a tendency to help out a little bit on this inflationary stuff.
Did you see that Josh Hawley, the senator from Missouri, is introducing a bill in which every American would get a $600 check as a result of the tariff money that is being collected? I'm all for the idea of, hey, everybody gets $600. Now, is that per household? Is that per citizen? Is that per, whatever? But may I pour just a small amount of cold water on it? It's rare that I feel like I'm the adult in the room. Like go for it. We'll figure it out. Get it? We'll work a few more hours and figure out a way to pay for it. But would it be so bad if instead of taking, let's just say that, and I'm completely making this number up, Lance, if instead of taking $600 and handing that out to 100 million Americans, I don't know what the actual number is, but let's say 100 million Americans, would taking that $600 million and applying it to the debt be the worst idea?
What I'd do, but I'm not buying votes either. I'm trying to think logically. I would reduce the problem. That $600 is going to go a lot further. All right, so there are two ways to look at this. Somebody says, we don't need any more free money from the government. We're $37 trillion in debt. So the two arguments would be, well, we're $37 trillion in debt. What does $600 million do? Might as well give it out to the people. Or there are others that go, if we got $1 billion here and $600 million here and $200 billion here, and we start taking that and throwing it at the debt, maybe we do make a little progress. But to what you said just a second ago about buying votes, that's real. That's very real. Is there a scenario where we have a more educated electorate than our federally elected politicians are giving credit for? Is there a scenario where at the federal level, senators, congressmen, cabinet officials can point to, we implemented the tariffs, we did so that the United States could increase revenue, and we are finally starting to attack this debt that we have all given to lip service about being a problem but haven't done anything about. We are finally doing something about it. Are we sure that doesn't sell better
to voters than, hey, here's $600. And I'm not sneezing at $600. But whether you've got a lot of money or a little money, $600 is gone pretty quickly.
In today's time, yeah, go to the grocery and eat out a couple times.
And it's gone.
Gone.
And so, while that $600 for some would make a difference, it would. I get it. Like, for a month, for a couple of months, maybe it would loosen things up a little bit. It wouldn't be as paycheck to paycheck. It wouldn't be so tight in the budget, give you a little bit of breathing room, but it's going to be gone quickly because it's not that much money. But when you take that, not that much money, and multiply it times 100 million people or 200 million people or whatever the number is, that not much money becomes a pretty significant amount of money. And it just kind of feels like, what math am I not doing right? Is it 600?
If you did $600 over 200 million people, that's $120 billion. Not a ton of money, but you plug it in.
Well, and the 600 million number that I was using when I was talking about 100 million people, just using that number.
I was just throwing a number out there.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. So I said, no one's ever told me what would happen if the debt was paid off.
Good things. We could go into great detail on that, but
it'd give us the ability to go out and borrow a ton of money. We wouldn't have any debt. We could borrow all the money we wanted, Lance. Back after this.
Now it's come to what you want to have. From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Waking up Mississippi. From South Haven to Scuba. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
Hey, oh, sorry once again. You want me to take you back once more.
Once again, my math not mathing exactly the way it's supposed to. Death, taxes, and Richard doesn't do math right. It's like the numbers just got so big. I ran out of fingers and toes.
Yeah, you got to start counting a lot of zeros, man.
$600 at 100 million people is $60 billion, not 600 million. Thank you. Glad to fix that error. Which makes it even more significant. It makes the whole point even more relevant. $37 trillion deficit. You throw $60 billion at it. I mean, you're not touching Elon's net worth, but you are doing some good. Got to start somewhere. Best way to eat an elephant, Lance?
One bite at a time.
There you go. All right, I'm giving you the choice. I got 3 stories left.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I've got more than 3 stories left. I've narrowed it down to one of our elected officials just sent me a message encouraging me to be careful doing math in public.
Well, I'll make this
Isn't
one.
that the truth?
$37 trillion equals $108,365 per person, or $323,000 per taxpayer.
Mm.
So I ought to tell you something about paying taxes.
Yeah.
There are a lot of them that don't. But $108,000 per citizen in debt.
Yeah.
That puts it into perspective. So it means $600. Give me a break.
Tim in Tupelo said, man, I was looking forward to spending my $6, Richard. Yeah, I hear you.
Getting that royalty check, yeah.
Can I get 2 black coffees? That'll be $7.22. But I've only got $6 in this check. Thomas in Greenwood, hey, comrade, MAGA only plays lip service to conservatism. They want that government check. I don't know if they do, though, Thomas. I think that's the larger question that I'm asking here. Are we sure that people actually want a check for $600 instead of having $60 billion go toward knocking the deficit, the debt of the United States back just a little bit? Somebody said what would we do if we actually paid off all the debt? Well, Dave Ramsey says you live like no one else so you can live like no one else. A debt-free USA? I
did hope that you would start getting a dividend.
Or at least taxes could go down a little bit. Maybe you could get to that whole let's not have property taxes anymore.
Well, I mean, you got average debt or credit card per citizen is about $8,000. So, I mean, there's a lot that would happen if the U.S. debt were at zero, then personal debt would start shrinking. Now, that's not what banks want to hear because banks operate and make money off of loaning money. They pay you money when you deposit. So,
hold on. I told you I was going to give you a choice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We got 3 stories. Which one do you want? Do you want a story about a lifetime appointment for a judge? RFK Jr. on autism diagnoses? Or Cory Booker unhinged?
Oh, Cory Booker unhinged. I mean, come on.
Did you see this yesterday on the floor of the Senate?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to play the entire thing, but angry Cory Booker.
Gift that keeps on giving.
Man, he is going to fight for the people. Fight for New Jersey. If this video ever stops buffering, I will play it for you. It may not happen today. Ugh. I mean, angry Cory Booker yesterday on the floor of the Senate.
I mean, you had Chuck Schumer with his voter ID problems.
Here we go.
I see law firms bending a knee to this president, not caring about the larger principles, that those free speech rights, that you could take on any client, why are you bending the knee? I see universities that should be bastions of free speech bending at the knee to this president. I see businesses taking late-night talk show hosts off the air because they dare to insult a president. I see people who want mergers suddenly think that they have to pay tribute to this president.
That's rich.
And what are the very people here elected to defend the Constitution of the United States saying, oh, well, today, let's look the other way and pass some resources that won't go to Connecticut, that won't go to Illinois, that won't go to New York, that will go to the states he likes. That is complicity with an authoritarian leader who is trashing our Constitution.
Wait, I thought authoritarian leaders were people who, behind closed doors, schemed to subvert the will of the American people. Is that not an authoritarian leader?
Yeah, and saying in that the left did all this stuff.
Here's the thing, and this is the biggest problem that Democrats have right now. In their mind, the issue is still Donald Trump. It's not their policies.
Yep.
Donald Trump spent 18 months on the campaign trail telling you, if you elect me president again, this is what I am going to do. And he has spent the last 6 months doing exactly what the majority of Americans elected him to do. But Democrats still want to go bad man orange. They don't want to go, maybe we should look in the mirror and see where we need to get it right. Have a great day.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.